Good morning and welcome back to the Heater Dynasty podcast. I'm your host, Eric Heater, your one-stop shop for all your fantasy football needs. Today we're going to be covering Week 9 Thursday Night Football slate between the Baltimore Ravens and the Miami Dolphins. But before I jump into it, I wanted to give a shout out to my newest subscriber, Richard. Thank you so much for joining the team here and joining my Patreon. I hope you're enjoying it. If you have questions, reach out to me. I'd love to help. But if you all would like to be a part of this community as well, you can join at my Patreon. There's a $15 season access pass where you'll be able to get all of my tools. You'll be able to have this lineup builder tool yourself for every single slate out there. Or if you want to try it for just a week, you can get a week access pass for $5 right here. And you get a promo code if you like it. Goes directly towards the season pass, just another $10. You'll be able to get that. Or it's available on my Etsy as well, whichever platform you prefer. But when we are looking at this particular slate, I think it's going to be a good game. We finally get Lamar back, and everything runs through Lamar. We've seen that for years now in Baltimore. When he's out, it's a completely different team. When he's in, the offense just operates at a different level. At least this past week we had Tyler Huntley, and he's at least a little bit more of a poor man's version of Lamar and was able to scrape out the win. We don't have to see that Cooper Rush experiment anymore, thank goodness. But all that to say, the over-under is a 51.5 for this week, with 7.5 points laid by the Ravens. So all Vegas definitely thinks that Lamar's back. I think we can all assume Lamar is back at this point. And if not, obviously it's a completely different slate, and we will definitely be thinking more Miami focused. But when I'm looking at this today, and I'm looking at the projections, you're not seeing a lot of actual points. You have a very condensed group of people that you'd be interested in for the captain spot, and then the rest of it is kind of crappy. And that's kind of what we have come to expect from this team. A lot of the points are it's either gonna be Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, or Zay Flowers this current year for the Ravens. And for Miami, with Tyreek being out, you really only have Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle, and Tua. We'll get into some of the other pieces because we're going to have to put something in there. But just know that there is a lot of different options and ways we can get unique today. And a lot of these little secondary pieces might come into play just as much as who scores a touchdown and nothing else. So when I'm looking at this slate, the key injuries that we have to worry about, obviously Tyreek for the Dolphins, but he's been out for weeks. But Darren Waller going on the IR is a big deal because it means that one of these secondary tight end pieces are going to now matter. So if we look at this, let's look at the tight end data. I've sorted it by just the Ravens and Miami. So Darren Waller, 45 points on the season. He's played in 4 games. The only 2 other pieces that are even remotely interesting with him out for tight end for the Dolphins are Julian Hill or Tanner Conner. And last week when Darren Waller went out, Tanner Conner is who they relied on. So that's probably option 1. But I think either one of them is in play because the strategy might be different against the Ravens. So let's see here. So Julian Hill, Tanner Conner, those are the 2 names we'd be interested in for the Ravens at tight end because I think this is where you're going to get some salary savings. Mark Andrews is always interesting. He hasn't really had a breakout game yet, but we'll have to see. Isaiah Likely is actually back as well. He's been back for a couple weeks, but hasn't really done much. I think they're trying to still kind of work him back into the offense, and I think things have just changed in Baltimore because nothing has really worked yet so far this year. So I think we can't rule him out. Charlie Kolar also scored a touchdown last week. He's more their blocking tight end, but he gets some looks in the red zone. So any of these 5 options are possible plays. I think it's going to be a matter of what fits in more than anything else. If we get to wide receiver data, we're looking at it's Jalen Waddle and Zay Flowers. But then Malik Washington is another player that could play a potential role in this game because he's really stepped up now that Tyreek Hill has been knocked out. He has seen a lot more work these past couple of weeks. Let's see what he did last week. Just going to look up just Baltimore and Miami here. Yeah, so last week he had 13.5 points. That's definitely enough for a showdown slate. And then who else played a role? And then pretty much nobody else, you see? So for the Ravens, it's Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. For the Dolphins, it's Jalen Waddle, Malik Washington. If we get to running backs, the story is pretty much Devon Achane or Derrick Henry. Ollie Gordon and Justice Hill definitely play a role in their offenses. But it's all going to come down to game script. If you think that the Ravens are going to control this game on the ground and maintain control of the game the whole time, then you're not going to really want to get to Justice Hill because he's definitely more the third down passing role and protections back. So if they are playing from behind, then Justice Hill gets put in there. If they're playing from ahead, it's Derrick Henry. They're pretty consistent with that, they being the Ravens. Miami, it's all Devon Achane. And then Ollie Gordon will come in to spell him every once in a while. The one interesting piece for them would be Alec Ingold. He's more of a fullback than a running back, but he gets a lot of red zone looks. And how many touchdowns has he scored on the year? Let's see here. 0. Okay. So nothing this year. I'm just talking from past experience, I guess. But maybe this is the game. So maybe we don't get to that one. However, if you needed a piece, he'd be one piece that might work. But yeah, let's jump back into the slate here. Kind of see what's going on here. For projections wise, Lamar is the above, far and away best option. But everyone's going to know that. So he's going to be a very popular captain play. In my mind, I think the 4 captain, I guess there's really 5 captain plays. I would not put Tua there. I don't think it's going to be an incredible passing performance from Tua. I do think the Ravens defense, we saw that it kind of turned around last week. They got all their players back after their bye. So I do think the Ravens defense is going to look a little better than what we have seen so far this year. But if we're looking at this, I would say Lamar Jackson, Devon Achane, Derrick Henry, Jalen Waddle, and Zay Flowers would be my obvious captain choices. The only other one that I would throw in there if you wanted to get crazy would be Mark Andrews, or if you're playing a contrarian build, I think Malik Washington or Justice Hill would be some other alternatives, but more risky. Both kickers are in play for sure. Tyler Loop for the Ravens, Riley Patterson for the Dolphins. And then obviously both defenses are definitely in play here as well. I don't think the Dolphins for me, when I'm looking at this slate, I think I'm going to be playing that the storyline I'm going with is the Ravens are going to win the game, but they are not going to cover the spread. So I do think it's going to be closer. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's a Thursday night slate, and I don't think it's going to be a crazy shootout. I think both offensives have kind of sputtered lately. But I do think it's going to be a heavy on-the-ground kind of game. So I definitely want to get to Devon Achane, definitely want to get to Derrick Henry, and then kind of figure out the rest of the pieces. So let's just kind of start building and see what we see. So I put together these 2 lineups right off the bat just to show you. some basic structures that I was thinking. Both of them are 4-2 Baltimore builds. The first one's Derrick Henry as a captain. I threw in Lamar Jackson with the storyline that basically all of the offense runs through the two of them, but it's a much more on the ground game. I threw in the Ravens defense, thinking that they are dominating the game. And then the only players I put on the Dolphins side, this is definitely a one where they do cover the spread game script, because I just have Riley Patterson, their kicker, and Malik Washington, their wide receiver 2 currently. And then with the remaining amount of money, I threw in Rashad Bateman. You could easily throw in Mark Andrews instead. Save even more. You can't get up to Zay Flowers. It's too much. If you wanted to do a 3-3 build, I think you could get to... Who could we get to here? I don't know. So I guess that's kind of your main options, Mark Andrews or Rashad Bateman. Or if you thought it was going to be a really ugly game and it's just a low-scoring game, maybe throw in the other kicker as well. So those are some options. But I chose Rashad Bateman because I think he is the secondary option for wide receiver behind Zay Flowers. I thought that was a good strategy. If you were going with Lamar Jackson as the captain, in this build I was thinking more of an air attack, and maybe they're playing. It's a much closer game. So you'll see I have Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, Justice Hill, and Charlie Kolar. This is definitely a back-and-forth affair, but I said that Tua, you didn't really need Tua to win it because all of the touchdowns were scored by Devon Achane and Malik Washington. That's kind of the build I went with here. So it's a higher projected total, but we'll have to wait and see. Projections have been coming out later, so unfortunately we're not getting those for these episodes, but when you utilize my tool, it will be in there for you by game time. By the time that you're building your lineups. But my guess is that this is going to be a higher roster percentage, and I'm not super comfortable with Charlie Kolar in there. It just was what fit. If we're to build, let's build one together here. So let's do something a little different. Let's see what kind of savings we get if we put Malik Washington at the top. Because like most slates on DraftKings, the pricing's getting tighter, and it's definitely making you have to choose between the studs. You can't just plug all the studs in, which is good. It makes it much more of an interesting slate. But in this one, we're going to put Malik up top. Let's throw Tua in. No, honestly, I don't think I'm getting to Tua. I don't think I'm getting to him too much. Let's do it. Let's do it. I won't let my bias get in the way. I just don't like him, But Malik, Tua, maybe this is more of a Dolphins 4-2 build. Don't think I'm going to put the Dolphins defense in there, but maybe we go with the kicker. How's that look? And then you got to get Lamar in there if he's playing. And at 4,400 left. I guess in this lineup, I guess we would do Justice Hill. So that's one possibility. I just don't think I want to go that way. I think it's gonna be a reckoning for the Ravens. I don't think they're ready to give up on their season, and if that's the case, they have to win this game. So let's try this. I want to try Zay Flowers build. Lamar Jackson, and Derrick Henry. And we'll throw in Tyler Loop and the Ravens defense. And this is an onslaught. So then at 3,700, what do we got left? Yeah, so even this way, even if you're doing an onslaught there, they're trying to protect against you to be able to do something. So this one would be where we'd have to we'd say the only bring back is maybe like a touchdown from one of the tight ends. So I'm going to go with Tanner Conner since he had a better game last week. But yeah, I don't like that. So basically, you're going to have to fade one or the other. So in this situation, maybe I would fade Derrick Henry. I would say that the bringback was Devon Achane. I think that makes more sense. And then for Tanner Conner, yeah, you could leave him in there if you want to do a 4-2. But if it was a 5-1, then you could throw in... Can you throw in Justice Hill? I don't think you can fit this. Nope. Yeah, you can't fit that one. That would be much more comfortable. But it's like they knew that, and they priced it so I couldn't do it. Okay, maybe Isaiah Lakely. Maybe something like that. But yeah, as I'm building, I'm realizing it's going to be a little bit tougher to get what you want. You're going to have to work on it a little bit. I think salary savings-wise... If you wanted to get super off the wall and put a bunch of names in there, you're going to have to go with a contrarian captain. So let's say this could be interesting. What if you went with Justice Hill, Lamar, Devon Achane, Malik Washington, and then, how much we got? Oh, we got some money left. We go Derrick Henry. And maybe Tyler Loop. So that's an interesting lineup. That definitely gets a lot more studs in there. But you're not leaving much salary on the table, and I think it's going to be a pretty duped lineup. The only other cheap name that might be interesting up there would be Malik Washington. And then we put Devon Achane in there. Maybe we do like a weird 2-4 build. So Lamar, Derrick Henry, Tyler Loop. And how much is the Ravens defense? 4,000. Okay, so that's too much. So we could do this, Ravens, and then get off of Derrick Henry, which we could fade him for sure. I do think it's totally reasonable to think that it's more of an air attack game versus the ground game, but I don't know. When you look at the Miami defense, people have been able to run all over them. So. But for that matter, people are going to be able to run all over the Ravens as well. So these are just a couple builds to give you some ideas of what I'm thinking. As we get more information closer to game time, make sure that everybody is playing. Obviously, if Lamar's out, this is a totally different game. Let's build one like Lamar is out, just so that you have an idea. Like, if that's the case, I'm honestly going more of a heavy Miami build. The name that I didn't include at all today was Jalen Waddle, which I think is a mistake. So we'll say Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa. I think I left out an O there. There we go. Devon Achane. Riley Patterson. And then if he's out, he being Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry's got to be in there. Oh, yeah. No, that's way too much. So as you can see, they're priced up more on this side. So you wouldn't be able to necessarily do that. You'd have to... Oh, goodness. So, yeah, this is tough. So that's why I'm not really getting a Jalen Waddle that much. Because if we go back, what did he have? What has he done? Like last week, he had 14 points... versus Devon Achane, 19 points. Like, I don't know. I do think I want to... Oh, I guess he had 20 points last week. 14 is his average. I don't know. I think I would lean more towards Devon Achane than Jalen Waddle if you can only fit one of them in. But I wouldn't fault you if you thought the opposite. But hopefully this is helpful. Good luck tonight as you're building. These showdown slates are always interesting, being just a one-off. You just kind of have to hope that Lady Luck is on your side sometimes and really stick to your gut. So stick to the storyline that you think will happen and build your lineups accordingly. But we'll see you soon. I'll be putting out on Saturday a main slate lineup as well, so stay tuned for that. But we'll talk to you later.